That's good. Hi everyone. So today I have a really quick and fun, I think, equipment review for us all. Reviewing equipment does particularly well on the channel, just because I think we do such a thorough job on it. So today, what I'm going to review is this electric portable travel pot from NatHome. Okay, not sponsored or anything. I had them send it over to me because I am going to be going on a trip to India soon, and you all know how I eat. Like, I can't really, I'm like more sensitive to oils now. I don't really eat a lot of things, and I know that there's going to be parts of the trip where there's definitely going to be nothing that I can eat. So my thought is, okay, if I can find like a little baby pot and I bring, you know, like maybe like just some rice and some lentils with me, I can sustain myself, you know, and it'll still be okay. So one of my requirements was that this pot, when I was researching, needed to have universal voltage. Like, I wanted it to be a proper travel pot where if I go to Asia, I can use it. If I go to America, I can use it. So this pot is actually dual voltage. So a 100 to 120 voltage and then 220 to 240. So you can use it anywhere. It's pretty high powered. It's a 1000 watt power-age. I don't really understand power, but when I was using it, it works really well. So yeah, pretty much today, I'll just talk about the specs with you briefly, like just how big it is, how much it weighs, all of that stuff. And then I cooked a couple of things with it. I made soup, I made noodles, and then I also steamed vegetables in this as well. So we'll talk about that, the cleanup, what you can cook in it, what you can't, and how I found using this and testing this out. Okay, so before we get into it, let me show you how to use this portable cooker. There is a light that comes on to show that it's on. See how that looks? So this is to slow. Let's talk about the size first, because it's really small, okay? About the size of my phone. In terms of how tall it is, maybe like 2.5 inches. I know that they have it listed there. And then maybe 7, 8 inches wide. And then the magic of this guy is this. So it pops open. It's just like a little flower pot pail now. Stainless steel is what composes the base. So that's what's going to heat up your food, and it's what the heating element is connected to. And then on the sides is food grade silicone. Okay, I know what y'all are going to ask. We're going to go into food grade silicone and, you know, what temperatures you can take that to, etc., etc. So now you have something that can feed, you know, maybe 1-2 people, depending on what you make. Everything is really compact here. So you have the lid, but then the lid also has this steamer attachment to it. The pot, there's actually like a little divot, but you just put this right in and it just fits into the pot, so that now you can make hot pot with it, you can make noodles with it, but then it also becomes a steamer. So you can use it for dumplings, you can use it for vegetables. I think you could probably just steam some rice with it if you wanted to as well. So that's that. Weight-wise, it has a 1 liter max capacity, so right around 4 cups of liquid. Of weight, let me see, 1.25 pounds. So this doesn't weigh anything really at all. So if you think about, having to take it through an airport, putting it in your luggage, for sure, room is not going to be an issue because you can press it all down, but then also, weight, maybe you're taking it through and you're going backpacking or something, weight is not going to be really that much of an issue. I'm just going to see what else we got with this. So I don't really know that much about NatHome. This brand is based out of Shanghai, which to me indicates that it's pretty good quality. Like if it's good enough for Shanghai, very expensive city, it is good enough for me. But obviously it is a foreign appliance. So in terms of warranty, or I would have to definitely look into it, or like in case if something goes wrong. Yeah, like I don't really know what you can do about that. So that's always kind of something to keep in mind. But from using it, again, not sponsored, from using it, it seems like a pretty good product. Just because I've gotten sent like electric cooker pots before where they're like, oh, it's so small, you can bring it to lunch with you, keep your food warm for the office. And it just like, there was no heat to it, or like it would take forever to boil. And this was not the case with this. So we'll talk about that. But so what do you get? What do you get in the box? What do you get in the box? Push this back down. So you get the cooking unit itself, again, stainless steel, food grade silicone, the lid with the steamer attachment. It's a very basic unit, which is really good because there wasn't really that many things in it and it wasn't hard to understand. What they do is they give you 2 packages of these cleaning agent things. I think pretty much it's a descaler. So every so often you might boil water with this in it, and then that cleans the silicone and maybe any of the additional smells, etc., off of that. You get a travel bag, which is really nice because it's just so small. And then they were really nice about this. I mean, I think that the universal adapter is a pretty good quality adapter so that you can really take it anywhere, and anywhere would work for any plug. So they have a little holder for that. Is that it? I'm gonna go find the cord. Sorry, I went to find the cord because I was testing it out before. So that's pretty much the cord, which is, I don't know, right around 2 feet. So I told you that I cooked noodles, I cooked vegetables and soup, and then I also steamed sweet potatoes in this. So let me show you some footage of the foods that I've cooked with this. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and time how long it takes to boil 4 cups of cold water on this max heat. You can actually see that, I mean, even when it was about 1 minute 40, I started seeing it like starting to come up. So pretty much 2 minutes, I think the water starts going. Looks to be a pretty strong boil. I'll lower it down a little bit, see how that looks. So this is to slow. Yeah, that seems to kind of adjust the heat quite well. Now it's like a slow boil. So I'll tell you what any issues that I have with it first, and then we'll go into likes afterwards. So one of my, I guess, there's not too big of dislikes. Overall, I actually really like this machine. I thought it was really easy to use. I thought it was quick to heat up, which is magical. I just like that the cord, you can use it anywhere. You can bring this anywhere. It's like a great kit. So if it holds up, it'll be a great, piece of kit. So one of the things that one of my maybe dislikes, it's not really a dislike, but I told you this cord is only this long. So that means if you were in your hotel room or if you were in your dormitory, you do have to find like a power cord or something. You have to be quite close to the power outlet when you are cooking. So that's something for me. Is like, I wish that it was longer, but at the same time, I know that they're trying to keep everything super compact. So I think, yeah, this is around like 2 feet. I think, that's really, that's fine, I guess. The other thing with silicone is like silicone tends to attract dust. With the unit itself, when I was looking at it online, it gave me the feeling that it was opaque, like this thing, you couldn't see through it. And when I received it, one of the biggest differences is I kind of found that the silicone was see-through. Like you can kind of, it's a little bit transparent. So just keep that in mind. I know that they have different colors, like this was supposed to be beige, but I think they have white, beige, and then gray as well. And I think maybe if I think about discoloration, so when I'm thinking about the future is like, okay, maybe this thing will stain, so maybe getting something like a gray color, I don't know, maybe easier, but it really depends on what you cook with. I think that's pretty much it. I didn't really have any big dislikes. In terms of like the silicone, like there was no big silicone smell when just like even right out of the box, right? Because sometimes, like when you order something and it's like made of silicone or like some kind of plastic or something, it just really smells a lot. And this, like, it hardly has any smell to it anymore. And I've only cooked with it for a couple of times, but like it doesn't, there wasn't a big silicone smell to it. So I really enjoyed that. Last thing, so those two weren't like really big things. The only thing about it is, because this pot moves and they had to fit this like handle on, which I understand as well, it makes it more convenient, but the lid does not fit on that well. So there is a proper direction to it because there's a spout here so that you can pour out all of the liquid. So there is a proper way to put this in, but I don't think it fits in all that well. Like you're gonna have to kind of, nudge that into the silicone pot, which, moves a little bit, but it holds up. Yeah, it sounds like it would be precarious, but it actually, it works quite well. It's quite rigid. So that was the only thing, was that the lid does not totally fit on this that well. Things that I really liked about this, like obviously we talked about it, like just this design, how compact everything is, how this like very easily fits into this. But one of the most important things is to just like, can a device like this get hot? Like hot enough to just boil water, to boil noodles, to boil, vegetables? Yes, it did. So what I did was, you have a max fill line of about 4 cups, and then you have a minimum fill line, which is also in here, of about 2 cups of water. So I max filled it up with cold water straight from the tap, and I'd say within 2 minutes, you started seeing kind of like little bubbles, and then definitely within 4 minutes, it was full boil. It was boiling. And I was really, I was really impressed by that, because you never know with these like really small units, like it's, you just buy it offline and you don't know if it actually works. But this one, it boils, and it boils really well. They have 3 settings, well 4. One is off, one is warm, and you can kind of hear a little click as it changes. One is slow cook, And then the final one is quick. And so when you do need to bring water to a boil, sorry, I realized I was just like doing this. If you do need to bring water to a full boil, you turn it to quick. It's essentially, low, medium, high. When I turned it down to slow, I was not sure what I was expecting, like would I see a definite temperature change? And I did, actually, quite quickly. It went from a very rapid boil to kind of like a slow, kind of like bubbly simmer. It was actually quite good. And then the keep warm function, maybe if you needed something kept warm, but I don't really know about that. So like I was quite impressed by the heat and the ability to change the heat settings. There's nothing really that much to say about, kind of like products like these other than they do work. They do come up to heat, they do work. There's gonna be two main questions that people ask because it is silicone, is that one, does it stain quickly? Does it pick up a lot of smells? And then two, the obvious question is like, geez, is it actually safe to be cooking in a silicone pot? Okay, so we'll address the first one first. I haven't used it for that long of a time. I have had it for about a good couple of weeks, and I've done a couple of different recipes on it. I know from working with silicone, obviously in baking, but probably most obvious is I own an Instant Pot. So I know that over time with silicone, like this one just smells like tomatoes. And I've tried to, wash it with baking soda and vinegar, which is what they always recommend. Like it's still, at the end of the day, it still smells like, what you constantly cook it with. Okay, so while this one hasn't picked up any flavor, I imagine, using some of these like descaler or like washing it with baking soda is going to help with this. But no, I do imagine that over time, if you are going to be cooking a lot of things with like, let's say turmeric with chilies, no doubt the white one or the beige one, that's going to color a little bit. I have no doubt of that. I also have no doubt that it's going to pick up, a bit of flavor as time goes. So really, it depends on what you're going to be using this for, because I'm only going to be using it, bringing it on travel, which happens like, once or twice a year where I really need something like this. So really, that doesn't happen that often. But I guess if you are a student and you're using it for a dormitory and you're using it, twice, 3 times a week, maybe like every day, I imagine the wear will be different depending on how long you'll use it. But that's just the trade-off of silicone, having it be lightweight, having it be, non-stick and whatnot. So there's that. So the second thing that people are going to ask is whether it is safe to be cooking in silicone, like a majority silicone pot. Because I looked into this before I got this, because obviously that's a big concern for me as well. So what generally, what I've researched seems to say is that silicone, you can bring it up to around 230 degrees Celsius, 460, maybe a little bit higher here and there. But what that means is, and they also say it on the site as well, is that this pot is mainly used for water cooking. So for example, noodles, you're going to be cooking it in water. Soups, stews, you're going to be cooking it in water. Hot pot, you're going to be cooking it in water. When you're steaming vegetables, you're going to be cooking it in water. Okay, they have a safety mechanism in here where when it gets too dry and when it gets too hot, it automatically shuts off. So that's really nice, a nice option to have here. I imagine, I know some people would want to make rice in this. I think you can probably make like a congee, or, the way that you make rice as well is you can boil the rice and then have a strainer and just strain the rice. So you can still cook rice in it, but it needs to be a water cooking method. Or I can imagine that some people, you can maybe like steam the rice, But steaming rice takes a really long time. And honestly, like for something like this, I don't imagine you're supposed to keep it on for an extended amount of time. Going back to whether it is safe to be cooking with silicone, in general, yes, FDA gave it clearance in 1979. I don't think new tests have been done since. In general, it is safe to use, but silicone does leach chemicals under certain conditions. Number one is, the most obvious is if you use oil. Oil in this, the more oil, right, the more it will leach out. So those are things that you need to think about, okay? Cooking really fatty foods in this, probably not a good idea in general, just because that soaks up the smell, it soaks up the taste. But, you know, kind of, I think it's something where you want to keep this clean as well. So watch out for oily, greasy foods. The second study that I was reading was talking about the leaching of silicone into, I guess, like baby's milk for the nipple of the bottle. And they said that at 6 hours, they didn't really notice any leaching, but at 72 hours, they did. So I don't think that this is going to be an issue here. You're not going to leave your food in here. Like if you are, don't do it. And to keep in mind of that. So yeah, I think that that's it for me. Again, I'm going to put the link down below for you all if you're interested and you're going to travel or you live in a dorm or something. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to take this on travel with me, just because yeah, like it is such a good design and it actually works. Like it actually heats up, which pretty much what I care about. But yeah, if any of you own this, let me know what you think. Let me know how it's held up. And if you have any other questions for me, I'll try to answer them, you know, all down below as well. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed this. Hope it was fun. And I will see you all again next time.